Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of this F1 24 driver cruise mode with myself driving for Sauber. If you did miss the last episode, episode 11, it was a sprint race around Austria where I made a mistake, a big mistake. I forgot to change my engine components. I generally run worn components during practice as I don't really need them, and then I try and save the not so worn stuff for the Grand Prix to try and ensure that we don't have any mechanical dramas. But unfortunately, I was silly and I forgot to switch them over. So we did the sprint race with incredibly worn parts, and it showed as we just had absolutely no pace and finished well and truly down the order. For the main Grand Prix, though, it was a Lando Norris fourth career victory. So the championship battle is heating up once again. Myself nearly got the win. Was so close to the win. We made a guess that the Inters would be the best tyre to be on and pitted with only 3 laps to go when the rain started to fall, and yeah, got within 0.2 of a second of getting that race win. And we did have a good battle with Max Verstappen, trying to get around him still on the hard tyres on a very wet circuit. So it was all to play for, and I reckon Verstappen probably cost me the win and also the slow pit stop that I had. Max Verstappen did end up finishing P3, so not too many points lost to Lando in the championship. As we now take a look straight away into our specialist. So we're going to go to the manufacturing export and drive 161 kilometers during the race weekend. Wind tunnel engineer, open DRS for 50 seconds, quality assurance tester, lift and coast for 25 seconds, strategy analysis and complete race strategy using 2 compounds of tire. And for our upgrades, we're going to have a look at what has made it to the car for this weekend. So we're going to be running a drag reduction and an energy store upgrade on the car for the weekend, and unfortunately our electrical systems did fail, and Bottas is already looking into it, so I'm going to save up our points and let him continue to look into it. Weather-wise, it's going to be a wet qualifying and a dry race, so we're going to be prioritising our race setup here by going dry. It may hamper us in qualifying, but there's plenty of DRS zones to try and help us get through the field. If we take a look now at the R&D, Red Bull maintain the fastest car status, and McLaren, they're not too far behind. Mercedes jumped both the Aston and Ferraris to get themselves as the third fastest car, but there's still a bit of a gap to the top 2 teams. RB extends their lead to ourselves, but still with a large gap to Ferrari, so there's definitely a Formula A and Formula B bracket. Sauber, Williams and Alpine are all very close together as well, and Haas continuing to fall away from the field. And now, let's head on to qualifying.
Welcome along everybody to a venue that was built for speed. Once an airfield, now one of the finest racetracks in the world. It's qualifying day here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
And the weather was not lying with its prediction. It is 100% wet, and we will be going straight out on to the intermediates and coming to the end of our first flying lap here. The conditions are not great, and you can see I'm really struggling to get the power down coming out of the final corner, and we're going to sit P12 at the moment, so definitely not a great start to this session. Coming into our second lap now, we're going deep into the Vale chicane, so not a great way to end the lap, but we're still 1.3 seconds up, so we've definitely found a much more time. And as usual, I've just fueled up the car for me to be able to do a few laps here. We've done a cooldown lap, and now we're trying again. A purple middle sector is going to do us quite nicely, actually, I reckon, as we go 1.3 seconds, 1.4 seconds. Is it going to crack 1.5? It does crack the 1.5, and we go fastest in the session at the moment, so hopefully that means we're going to be safe. I mean, starting our final flying lap, the track is now quite dry, but it's still very greasy. There's still very little grip here, and you can see they're power sliding it all the way through turn 1, and now coming into turn 3, we're going to get it turned in quite nicely. But it's going to be quite the struggle to get it turned in for turn 4, but we're going to have to try and get the power down. We're 4/10 up, so we're looking pretty good, and we're going to lose the rear end as Charles Leclerc goes fastest, and oh, that was quite the save. We're still up, though, so we're going to try and stay with the lap, and now coming through, coming into Vale chicane, we're up by a second. We have quite the moment on the exit there, and now coming into the chicane, we're still within a second of the green, but you can see that we've dropped down to P16. So is this 1 second improvement going to be enough to get us into Q2? I don't think it is. It's not. It's not. So Oscar Piastri is fastest in Q1 by 0.2 of a second ahead of his teammate Lando Norris. Carlos Sainz sits P3. He's 0.3 back. And our teammate Valtteri, he has made it to Q3. He's in P13. And myself knocked out of qualifying only by 1/10 to Logan Sargent. Some big names, though, haven't made it into Q1. Lewis Hamilton, one of the favourites probably to win this race, and he's always found pace around Silverstone. Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen, one of the championship protagonists, has not made it, and George Russell.
You join us in the United Kingdom today, or Great Britain as it's alternatively known. Well, it's certainly a great day today as we welcome you to one of the crown jewels of British sports, a track of speed, history and drama. It's Silverstone. It's the British Grand Prix. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of Silverstone Circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, but the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Leclerc, Perez, Stroll, Ocon, Gasly, Albon, Tsunoda, Bottas, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Lightning, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, and George Russell ends our grid lineup. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So, mate, you bagged a podium last race, and I, for one, really enjoyed it. I know you did, so let's see if we have more of that today, please.
And starting this far back, I doubt a podium is going to be possible. Highly doubt it. Looking at the strategy here, it's quite surprising to see the soft tyre being used, but you'll see we do shorten that soft tyre, and we're going to try and see if we can't get an undercut working here. I reckon that's going to be the way to go, and we are away here before the British Grand Prix. We have a pretty decent start. It's nowhere near as good as the two Hasses. They've had an absolute lightning start, and there's a bit of a gap now, but we'll get ourselves ahead of Logan Sargent up into P15. This is usually where we can get some dive bombs going in, and we're going to go down the inside of both Hasses. It's going to be 3 wide going through turn 3, and there was a bit of an incident there when we climb over the curb and lose the rear end, but we stay 3 wide here. We're going to lose one of the Hasses, and we're going to lose both of them now. And coming down the straight, we're going to tuck into the slipstream of our teammate, but we're going to have to go really defensive here to try and make sure that Kevin Magnussen doesn't send it up our inside, but he still sends it as now we head into this section of the track, and we're going to send him out wide, try and shove him out the way, and make sure that we can keep this position. And now we tuck in behind our teammate Valtteri Bottas, and now going on to the next lap, we've got the power of DRS. Our teammate has actually fallen off the back of Daniel Ricciardo, so we've got some work to do if we want to be able to catch up to this pack to try and see if we can't get some points. But we've had an absolute ripper start. I was not expecting to be up to P12 this quickly. And while we were making that overtake, this is Sergio Perez making a pass on one of the Alpines to get himself up further the order there. He didn't have a fantastic qualifying when we watched the grid order, and he's going to get the move done going into Vale Chicane. And now we've got a battle for the lead. Oscar Piastri pulls out of the slipstream, and coming up into Stoke Corner, he is going to make the move onto the inside, and that is going to be Oscar Piastri up into P1. And looking back further down the order here, this is Stroll. He's trying to get himself past one of the Ferraris here of Carlos Sainz, and he's going to go around the outside. And is he going to be able to make this move stick? They're going to continue going side by side, and he does get the move done. And looking further back, Pierre Gasly has also made himself the lead Alpine now in this train here, and this is a train that I am now catching up to the back of, and now have caught up to the back as there was a bit of a Constantina effect going into the chicane there. And now, lap 5, Sergio Perez, he's continuing to make his charge up the field there. You can see that they've dropped the Alpines of Gasly and Ocon, and so now Perez is battling Carlos Sainz here. So Carlos is losing quite a few positions, which is a little bit concerning to see. Back on board with ourselves, it's lap 5. We need to overtake Ricciardo. Our team, engineer Mark, he understands that this is a crucial time now. We need to get past Ricciardo if we want to make our way through this battle pack, which would put us, if we were able to get through everyone, that would put us up into P7. And the factor that the two Alpines are battling each other is going to make that a very doable task indeed if we're able to get it done. And Sergio Perez, this is an unorthodox move. He's going to send it down the inside of Stroll there, and the charge continues from Sergio Perez. That was a very good move from the Mexican. As our eyes go back towards the front of the track here, and it is Oscar Piastri making a move once again for the lead of the race. the Alpines continue the battle it out. Now Pierre Gasly is back in the lead of this train and back on board with ourselves. We're eyeing up a move here. We know they're slow into this section. We're going to launch it from well far back on Daniel Ricciardo. He's going to keep his nose in there, but we're going to give him the squeeze going into that corner, and that is us now up into P11, and we've got a little bit of work to do to catch up to the back of Alex Albon, but I reckon we can do it, especially through Cops, Maggots, and Beckett, and we seem to be doing quite well through that section of the circuit, and we're going to once again line up a move on Alex Albon. This time we're much further back, and we're going to have to release the brake and going through the chicane to make sure that we get our nose far enough up the inside to make sure that we get given some racing room from Alex Albon there. As the two Alpines continue to battle it out, so this battle is really, really helping us try and get ourselves through the field. As I failed to mention before, we are actually now up into the points as the two Alpines they're continuing to battle, and you can see how much I'm slowing up and trying to find our way past Yuki Tsunoda, and past Yuki Tsunoda we go into turn 3, and that was a very late lunge, and it was a gap that was closing, but I managed to get up in there early enough, and Yuki Tsunoda is actually fighting back. We've had to take a little bit of evasive action to make sure that we don't hit him going through turn 4 with the power of DRS. Surely we can get the move done. He's going to tuck back into our slipstream. We're going to go really defensive and go back to the racing line to try and sweep around him, but he's centered up the inside. I was not expecting him to be able to get that far up alongside us, so we're going to send him out wide going through here to make sure that he can't get the run on us at the exit, and we're going to squeeze the door on him on the curb to make sure that he can't get it. And while all of that was happening, Oscar Piastri has got himself back up into the lead of this Grand Prix. They're doing a very similar move to what Yuki did though, but he was actually able to get it done. Lando Norris will fight this, but I reckon Oscar's just going to be able to get the power down on the exit. Actually, they're going to be doing a drag race down into Cops, which is quite cool to see from the AI in this game. And Oscar Piastri does get the move done before they even reach the corner. So Oscar must be either dumping a lot more ERS, or he has got a smaller, more slim rear wing setting on his car, but that didn't help him too much as Lando Norris gets straight back past him, and this battle between Perez and Stroll continues as Stroll's trying to get himself back in front of the Mexican driver here in the Red Bull. Is an Aston Martin versus Red Bull, something I was not expecting to see in this series. You can see that the two McLarens continue the battle, but this battle between Checo and Stroll is not done yet, with Checo getting himself back up into P4, but this battling has now brought Carlos Sainz into the picture here as the two Alpines continue to go side by side as well. And are we going to try and capitalize that? No, we are pulling into the pits now. It is lap 10. It is our scheduled pit stop time. We're going to get it all slow down, very slow pit lane here, only 60 kilometers an hour, where most of them are usually about the 70 to 80 mark. So definitely a far slower one, and this will probably well and truly drop us to the rear of the field, but I'm hoping that the power of the undercut on the fresh mediums will be enough to try and get us that little bit of an edge to make sure that we can hopefully just jump the two Alpines. I reckon if we can jump the two Alpines, that'll make life easy, because those two guys are battling extremely hard. It's a very good pit stop from the boys and girls in the Sauber crew. And as we now go through this section here, you can see the next objective, charge the ERS. Mark wants us to build up that ERS. He knows we're going to have to do some hot laps to try and make sure that we can reap the full benefits of these fresh tyres, as this battle that I've been saying all race long, it continues with Pierre Gasly getting himself back in front of his teammate. As now Charles Leclerc is out of the Grand Prix. This is an absolute shocker for Ferrari. They're pretty much solidified in P3 in the Constructors, but they will be definitely trying to make sure they can still score as many points to stop any challenge from P4 in the Constructors, and an engine failure there does not hold well for us as well, because we're running the Ferrari power unit in the Sauber. So they're a little bit concerning as we now cross the start-finish line. That is us now up into P11. You can see they're jumping at least one of the Alpines for now. We're 7 seconds behind Lando Norris, the net race leader, coming through here. Once again, we're going to jump the other Alpine. So we've well and truly jumped, and we jumped Stroll as well. So Stroll was well and truly up the road. We're up onto the back of Carlos Sainz. So I reckon Stroll's just had an absolute shocker of a pit stop. And we do charge ERS, so now is the time to properly attack, as now we do an order check here. So it's Lando Norris leading in McLaren 1-2. Sergio Perez sits P3. Carlos Sainz 4th. Myself somehow up into P5. Brilliant strategy to get ourselves up into this position. Stroll in P6. Yuki Tsunoda, the two Alpines, 8th and 9th. Alex Albon rounds out the points, and our teammate Valtteri Bottas is right there as well. He's ready to pounce when he sees fit. Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen has not been able to recover too well after his absolute shocker in qualifying, exiting in Q1. He's only down in P13 at the moment. As now, I said our teammate is ready to pounce, and pouncing he is. going around the outside of Alex Albon. Is he going to be able to get the move done to get himself back up into the points? Once again, he scored points in Austria last time around, and he is getting himself now into the points here in Great Britain. So it seems like our teammate has found a little bit of mojo going into this second half of the season, as now we get ourselves past Carlos Sainz using some DRS. So that is now us up into P4. A P4 I was definitely not expecting to be in. We have just absolutely hooked it up with this car as this battle with the Alpines continue. Esteban Ocon now up into P7 and Alex Albon P10 now, getting past our teammate. So I'm not too stressed about our teammate because I'm sure he is going to be able to get that move back, as now this is the sort of stuff I've been trying to fix with our durability. Once again, we've had a tyre pressure failure, so we don't know what our tyre pressures are, which is a little bit concerning, especially for the boys and girls up on our pit wall, as Stroll, once again, a very audacious move, going up the inside there at turn 6, and that is going to get himself now ahead of Carlos Sainz. So Sainz on those hard tyres doesn't seem to be doing so well. I say that as he continues to battle there, as you can see on the timing, but is our teammate. I said he could get himself back up into the points, and back up into the points. He has got himself now up into P10. Ocon and Tsunoda battling up ahead, and this is now Max Verstappen continuing to try and make his way back through the field, trying to see if he can't get himself any points. He is right there behind the points now, with our teammate there leading that train, and that train is 4 points. And now our next objective from our engineer, we need to achieve an average lap time. He wants us to be nice and consistent on these tyres, make sure we don't wear them out. We've only got 8 laps to go in this Grand Prix, but that's plenty of time for these tyres to wear out, especially if we're battling this hard with Carlos Sainz. An absolute audacious move from Carlos to try and get himself past us through that section, so he slammed the door shut on him, but that has not only ruined our run going down this straight now, but we are now going to get done with the DRS from not only Stroll, but now Sainz as well. So we have to battle, but we get a bit squirrely as we touch that curb there on the inside, and we didn't mean to, but we have forced Carlos Sainz out there and kind of slammed that door shut on him. So very unfortunate there, because that could have been a really good battle as Yuki Tsunoda gets that move done. And Alex Albon once again getting himself past our teammate. So a bit of DRS swapping going on down the field, which is, to be honest, not a bad strategy, because they could be closing up to the pack that's in front of them if they continue the battle pretty good, as now our teammate once again is lining up another move. The Alpine of Pierre Gasly has actually been able to pull away a little bit from the battle pack, but I'm sure if the DRS swapping is going to continue, they'll be able to catch up pretty quickly as our teammate leads this train. Pierre Gasly just spun. Gasly's just spun, and that has now put our teammate up into P9. What did we just witness? Pierre Gasly has just thrown away all of those points. Alpine were on for a double points finish, and what is he doing? Is he reversing? I reckon he's just reversing across the track, because he's got no reason why he can't just pull out and just jump back onto the track. He was reversing. Why is he reversing across the infield? Either way, he's now last and rapidly still losing time to everyone else, and as we cut back to him, he is still reversing across the track. What is Pierre doing? Surely he's going to get it like a black flag or something. He can't just be reversing all that way. Now the safety car is out. Has the shields deemed him too dangerous to be out on the track? But he's out of the session now. So something has happened. So he was reversing across the track after he spun. The safety car is out. He's out of the session, and there is a lot of debris on the circuit. What has happened? We're on board with Lando Norris. There is Pierre Gasly. He's on the racetrack, and oh my god, how's Lando not had a DNF from that? He has launched it over the sausage curb, got airborne, understeered directly into Pierre Gasly, who was stationary on the racing line on the circuit. And how has Lando not got any damage from that? I reckon Lando has not got any damage whatsoever. Look at this! He absolutely slams into the Alpine head-on and survives. The Alpine falls into pieces, but we're going to do an order check here. Now we're under a very late safety car. So Norris leads the McLaren 1-2. Sergio's on the podium. Stroll P4, myself P5, Carlos is in P6. The lone surviving Alpine is in P7. There's an RB of Tsunoda in P8. Our teammate, due to that, well, it was initially the spin from Pierre Gasly, puts him up into P9. Max Verstappen does now find himself in the points. Alex Albon, Daniel Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, the two Mercedes still haven't found themselves back into the points yet. As now we get ready for the safety car restart. It's actually gone much sooner than I was expecting. I was not ready for that, and that was an absolute shocking restart from ourselves, but we're going to be trying to see if we can't get ourselves past Stroll here. We did have a good battle with him earlier, but there is going to be a change for the lead. Oscar Piastri is going to be going around the outside of Lando Norris. Is he going to be able to get the move done? I'm sure for the World Championship, Lando Norris does not want this to be happening, but Oscar Piastri now leads the British Grand Prix, going onto the final lap, on board with ourselves here. Now, that move has really held up Lando Norris, and maybe Lando is carrying a little bit of damage, but that does not matter, as he's now got an engine failure crossing the line to start the final lap. A day could not get any worse for Lando Norris. And this could have been a massive swing in the championship, a 25-point swing for Lando Norris in the championship, and it turns into probably going to be losing points to Max Verstappen, because this is going to probably promote him up another place as we get ourselves now onto the podium with Lando DNFing now that move on Stroll. That is going to be us up onto the podium here in Great Britain, and Sergio Perez is now battling our teammate, so there's battles with both the Saubers currently in the points. Is Max Verstappen going to be able to get himself past our teammate? He does, and that's Max Verstappen now up into P8. So Max Verstappen late on in the race has been gifted with a couple of positions here, which is going to help him extend his lead in the World Championship. But our teammates and Alex Albon are getting themselves past Max Verstappen here. We're going to have to double check where that battle ends up, but we're going to cross the line in P3. What just happened?
And it's the checkered flag for your Grand Prix race winner, Oscar Piastri.
A great team victory today, Crofty. That's the important bit here. On home soil, the drivers delivered, the team delivered as well, and to do that in front of their home support really means a lot to them.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
Well, that was a pretty standard British Grand Prix, absolute chaos. It's a first career victory for Oscar Piastri. Sergio Perez is also up on the podium, sitting P2. Myself, I still don't know how I got onto the podium. I absolutely threw it away in qualifying, didn't even make it into Q2, so that was pretty shocking for myself, but good strategy and lots of gifts with that safety car right at the end. I took advantage of that and got myself up onto the podium, so I'll take that, and it was what could have been a massive swing in the championship turned out to be points lost for Lando Norris with that engine failure. But the rest of the top 10 looks like Stroll, Sainz, Ocon, Yuki Tsunoda, our teammate Valtteri going back-to-back inside the top 10, Max Verstappen claiming some crucial points, and Alex Albon rounding out the top 10, and Leclerc and Gasly DNF'd, and Lando Norris was actually classified only a lap down after his engine failure. Verstappen leads by 12 points now to Lando Norris, so a little bit of increase in points. So Piastri sits P3, he's 47 points back, so he's climbed back a lot. Myself sitting P7, we've jumped both Leclerc and Alonso, now 12 points behind Hamilton. Going to the constructors now, McLaren leads it by 53 points to Red Bull Racing. Then it's Ferrari sitting P3, 170 points back, and they're comfortably sitting P3, Sauber P6. We're drawing in our rivalry actually against Esteban Ocon, so we need to get to a rating of 85 if we want to win this one. And for our driver ratings, so our experience has gone up to level 77, and our racecraft has gone up, awareness is up, pace has gone up, our focus has gone up to level 80 to give us a level 83 overall, and our recognition has actually now changed. We are now equal 50-50 with our teammate. It was only not long ago we went to 49-51 compared to our teammate Valtteri. And looking at the specialists, we've actually lost points to our strategy analysis, which is a little bit concerning because I could have sworn I passed everything. But looking at everything, it's actually, I apparently didn't do a race strategy on two different tyre types. In practice, which I didn't record, I did it on the medium and the hard tyres, so maybe they wanted dries and wets. I'm not sure. That will have to be one that will never be solved, but we're going to head back, and that's going to be it. We've got a couple of things to look at before we go to Hungary for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and I will see you there, where we try and could we go for 3 podiums in a row in a Sauber? We'll have to see at the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'll see you then. See ya.